Good evening and welcome to the Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions DrFunctional.
I have no idea who that is.
Sora Luna.
Hello. Maybe.
Let's see, Serenity Star 13, who is some kind of fox again.
Yep.
What kind of fox are you? Are you just a standard garden variety fox?
Yeah, it's a space fox. It's just a space fox.
Okay. And SkepTok.
Isn't there like a video game with a space fox?
Star Fox, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And SkepTok. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So, yeah. Everybody have all their appendages? Oh, their digits still connected? Did we all make it through July 4th without blowing ourselves up?
Yes.
That's good. No? Was that a yes or a no?
I said yes.
Oh, okay.
I still got all my appendages.
Two of us aren't really, you know.
Yeah, they're Canadian. They don't matter.
Yeah. You're not of the skyrocket persuasion, but you just had your day, didn't you?
Banned here.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to have skyrockets unless it's religiously appropriate.
Yeah, well,
you
everything.
Guys have a total ban?
Yeah, in my city, specifically my municipality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've banned it for everything but religious functions, and isn't that putting some people are better than others into law?
Well, yeah, you're not of the glorious faith of Muhammad, so.
Well, all fireworks were basically banned in most parts of California. So here's Oakland last night. It's just people letting off the stuff. So they're going to show there's the aerial view.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Lighting up the skies tonight. This was Sky 7's view
Suck
over
it, new
Oakland
scum.
just after 9.
The thing is,
Just
I wish people
nonstop
had that much
fireworks
backbone
shooting
about
off
actually
all
getting him
over
out. Like, this is the kind of stuff you need to have a backbone about, guys. Like,
Yeah, well, this is the law not being paid attention to. This is what it looks like.
Oh, wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, and it was like that pretty much all over the Bay Area.
Thing is here, like, you know, most of the year they are illegal, but they, for the week leading up to Victoria Day and Canada Day, they allow you to purchase and on the night of launch fireworks, but throughout the rest of the year it's illegal. So like, I don't get it.
that makes sense.
Honestly, as someone with 2 dogs, and then our neighbors
Kinda
have a
sucks.
dog occasionally and stuff, I'm happy, but I understand on certain days, like your New Year's, your Canada Days, your Halloween, all these kind of stuff. It's fun to have them on specific days of the year. So I don't necessarily disagree with the full ban, especially where before we had designated areas. Like the city used to put on shows, and they don't do that anymore.
So Sora,
Which is a bit of a bummer.
So Sora,
Yes.
when I got home today, in the garage, I found a dead Nigel. I know.
You think it's the second Nigel that you were fighting?
Well, this is like a whole new round of Nigels. So I had to basically take my grandfather's old workbench, which they had gotten into and made at home, got rid of that, cleaned everything out. And as far as I could tell, there were no Nigels for a while. No Nigels at all. And then, but I put some traps down and I found like one little Nigel turd. I'm like, okay, well, that's new. I wonder where that came from. And then all I found was like dead Nigel. And
Harry's a very strong proponent of No Nigel November.
Yeah, I just I'm really glad that things worked. The traps worked so well that the thing made one poop and then died. That seems like about the right approach. Because it couldn't have been in there very long. Because rats
you gotta go.
Yeah, rats just go wherever they're going to go, right? So I'm just going to keep trying to kill these things and just continue to improve the Nigel perimeter, just to keep the Nigels out. I think there was, I think I found where he might have squeezed through because he was just a little tiny thing. You would have thought he was adorable. Okay, I can just going to say that right now because it was right at that size of adorableness where it was about 5 inches long without its tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry, Sora.
I'm.
You're on my side now.
I mean, I'm kind of all over the place here. On one end, as someone who's fought them here too, I understand not wanting it, but I miss Nigel because it had nothing to do with me, you know?
Hmm.
It's not in my space. So,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Nigel, though.
Yep.
I'd
Yep.
rather deal with
30th.
Nigels than all the insects I'm dealing with. Mosquitoes and flies and dragonflies and moths and all sorts of nasty ass shit because my lovely neighbors who have a spike wall pointed at my balcony for some reason.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, it's completely illegal. I've reported them. Nobody seems to want to do dick all about it. Whatever. They have this balcony garden, so it's like just pure like plants draped over the side and all over the which, you know, normally I wouldn't have such a problem with, but they attract so many fucking bugs. And
Dragon-
because our balconies are on the inside of a corner, so they're attached in sort of an L shape, they go right into my apartment, and it drives me bonkers. So I'd rather deal with mice or rats or something that I could just
So,
smash with a croquet mallet, you know?
can you reach that fence wall thing from like about your
Well, if
window
you
or balcony, anything like
picture
that?
an L, right? So like one point of the L is their balcony and then the other point is mine. At the point where it connects, and there's a divider, there's a glass divider, you know, frosted glass, so it doesn't
Mhm.
you can't see through. But they put it up right at the side there so that, you know, anytime I'm sitting there, you know, just like hanging on the balcony rail, just enjoying the weather, whatever. And if there's any wind, and it's like a backing for, you know, some cheap IKEA furniture, so it's particle press board. So if there's any wind at all, it starts like swaying back and forth. And I already told my landlord, and I told the police when I called them. I said, look, one stiff breeze and this thing is going to like drive these nails into my head. It's ridiculous. It's completely fucking ridiculous.
Do you see the screen? that I'm-
Dragonflies are good though. I know they're annoying, but they're good because they eat mosquitoes and flies.
So what
Well,
do we
this is
think of? What do
probably
we
why
think
you
of the
have
thing
them.
I'm showing?
Well, that's why I know. I've seen those.
Laser wielding. You haven't seen these. This doesn't even exist. It's probably just vaporware. Laser wielding device is like an anti-aircraft
video.
system for mosquitoes.
No, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
a video
there's
where it's like a
videos.
laser targeting system that like just shoots them out of the air.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
just
I
not
saw
AI, or is this real?
This
I
is a
don't
thing
know.
that's
I
on
don't trust
Kickstarter right
anything
now.
anymore.
But
Okay.
Serenity, I know the dragonflies are good because they eat the other pests, especially mosquitoes. But that's why I let the spiders have free reign of my balcony in my apartment.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, like the amount of times I've seen this guy, like there was this big fat bastard jumped off the ceiling and like caught one midair and like landed on one of my shelves. I was like, "You go, dude! Like, thank you."
It's a
I-
prototype, though. That's the thing.
I-
It's
I
not
would
real
love a
until I can
jumping
buy
spike.
one.
Zap.
That's
Here's
hilarious.
a video. Here's a video of it
I'm
working,
showing the
right?
video.
No, it's a
No,
different
but
video.
like
It's a
an
different
actual
video,
video
actually.
of it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love one of these things. I think they will be so fun.
Yeah, I just want one that goes after birds and rats to keep them out of my apricots.
Get yourself a pump action salt gun.
I have one of those.
Well, then use
Should I
it.
just
I don't
sit?
know.
Am I supposed to sit outside all
shoot.
the time? I also
On
have
a rocking chair, say,
Yes.
get off my lawn.
I also have a really nice pellet gun, but I don't think my neighbors would appreciate that if I
I
miss.
depends how much do you hate your neighbors.
I don't mind those. The neighbors
You
I'd be
can
shooting
accidentally
toward.
miss by aiming at their window.
Yeah, I actually found one of my windows had like a pellet
So-
embedded in it, like a little hole where somebody hit it with a BB gun. It's like, you bastards. Anyway, let's have some order here. So I said hi to Sora. Do you have
Okay.
anything you want to share with the class before we get started?
I was went to the farmer's market today. Finally made it. And I got garlic scapes. I've never tried those before.
Hmm.
So that's something fun. And then some really yummy pea shoots, which I ate for dinner. But garlic scapes. I was looking online on how to make them, and a lot of people like just grilling them,
Yeah.
the oil and a bit of salt. So I might try it that way. It's not so much because they're quite expensive for how little you get. So it's one of those things where I'll buy one small bunch and try it. So I don't have enough to do like a pesto or other stuff that people recommended online. So I will try grilling because I want to have the full taste. And if they're good, and if that particular seller is back next week, I will get some more.
But you didn't buy any farmers?
Yeah, that's my excitement for today. No, they were out of stock today.
Probably going to the flea
Unfortunately.
market, not buying fleas. Gotta buy fleas.
Seriously.
Man. Gotta buy them fleas.
Well, I had some
I think,
amazing
the flea market
peaches.
that we used to have here, they were free. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a few types of peaches that they grow here locally that you can't ship them. They're like super fragile. And I haven't had a good peach in so long. And I had one of these things that's like, oh my God. It's like just absolutely perfect. The fruit right now this time of year is amazing. My apricots, I got the first apricot off my tree. It's amazing. The only thing I really envy with you, Sora, are the amazing strawberries you have up there. We have really great strawberries here, but I know you've got some fantastic ones there too.
Yeah, they're starting to come in because, and unfortunately, if you go to the stores and stuff, they're not great still. We bought some at the farmer's market. I got yellow cherries, like Rainier cherries, local ones, which is very exciting because those are very hard to find. Strawberries, raspberries, which were delicious. We used to get them free, but they cut down all the brambles around here, so we can't pick them anymore. And
Bastards.
I know, it's assholes. And we had blackberries too, but they got rid of all of them. They've just completely decimated all the ones, and they were just like weeds. And then not blueberries this time, but the strawberries are starting to come in, and they're very good.
Yeah, it's a good time to be on the West Coast. It really is.
Well, you're in the center of fruit country there, Harry.
Well, I'm in the center of some fruits. Some fruits. I mean, around
Watsonville is like the strawberry capital of California. People
we've got
artichokes,
strawberries, cherries, a bunch of different fruits. There's actually a fruit stand in Los Gatos called Cosentino's, I believe it is, the Cosentino family, and they've been around for like quite a while. They have the most amazing fruit stand there. They haven't bulldozed it and turned it into low-income housing yet, so it's only been there for like 60 or 70 years. But
paradise.
Fantastic stuff. But hi, Serenity.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You good? Anything you want to share before we get started? Sorry, was that no?
Apparently, no. I was thinking. I was sitting there going, "We're not getting flooded the way other people are, so we're good there."
Yep.
We're not in a drought yet, even though apparently some counties in my state are like, "Are we in a drought?" Guys, it's been 3 days. Calm the hell down.
Yeah.
Other than it being hot, we're good.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's see. We talked to Sora. Functional.
Hi.
How you doing? I mean, we've been talking offline about
As
stuff.
we want to do. Yeah.
About stuff, but we're not going to talk about any of that, obviously. But other things. Things going okay in Toronto?
I suppose.
Good. I have a few items tonight, which you're either going to tell me I'm full of it, or it's going to make your blood boil a little bit.
I always tell you you're full of it.
I have a few little food things which I think you're going to enjoy. There's a little something for everybody tonight on the spreadsheet if we just stop doing this and get to them. So, hi, Skep.
How you doing, Harry?
Are you done canning yet? Haha, I know you're.
I'm just
3-4 months from now.
At today's harvest of tomatoes, we got to get after that tomorrow. But what a wonderful problem to have, and having too much produce, great thing. We got barrels of potatoes around here. It's the house of aging produce.
Excellent.
A lot of corn frozen. Got all the corn harvested, frozen, put up, and the corn stalks torn down. Brenda did that all by herself. God bless her heart. Anyway,
at least you're not being forced to create silage in your backyard for livestock. It's just plants back there. You don't have any chickens or anything, right?
The chickens come and go. We have chickens that sometimes come and stay as tenants when our grandchildren need us to intervene on their behalf. They keep chickens over at their house, but sometimes they guest star over at our house. We actually have a little coop set up out back. Where
that was my
adorable.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. We could have chickens in a minute, and I've raised chickens. That I know how to do the chicken thing.
Oh, good.
Oh,
So, would you do the usual and greet the chat, please?
Quite a few people. Joel McLaughlin, Raymond Lewis are here in chat. JB. The kind of some of the usual suspects here with us tonight. Hello, gentlemen, all. We do this for you. We enjoy having you be part of the show, and keep an eye on what you have to say in chat. Appreciate you coming out and listening to us. Thank you so much being a part of this.
Well, Joel's my my technical buddy in chat, as I recall, right? So I'm going to do something a little bit out of order. I was going to point out to you guys, you've heard about, x86 architecture, all the Intel stuff, and you know that the Macs have a different chip. And I've mentioned ARM before because I said AI is using way too much power, and it's annoying the amount of power that data centers are using, but I had forgotten completely about this. Have you ever heard of something called RISC-V, Skep?
No.
Well, reduced instruction set, I'm sure it's a standard of some sort. I've stopped following standards long since.
Well, it is a
411.
It is a RISC chip. It's called, the design is called RISC-V, and the reason it's picking up steam all of a sudden, one of the reasons, is because nobody owns this particular one. You don't have to pay the ARM consortium in order to, like Qualcomm does. It's completely free, as in love and beer. It is, and it uses, you can make them incredibly cheaply because of this. So there are lots of little devices out there that you're going to find in your home more and more that are just running this little RISC chip. It's a little bit different development process, and we're not going to get into that. It has a number of interesting technical things that you can do with it. But you may start noticing that in little devices, these RISC-V chips are becoming more prominent. Now, this has been around for a long time, but when you take this design and apply it to new fabrication techniques, you can get a nice little powerful processor for some little gadget that you want to build.
How wonderful. And have it exactly tailored for that.
And cheap. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So if you want something, you want to put brains in something for $5, this is the chip.
You don't need a full computer.
But it does a lot of the full computer things. There are laptops that developers can buy that run this chip. It's powerful enough to run a laptop or a thing that controls your water pumps that go to your aquatic garden. It can do pretty much everything. And it's actually cheaper. It's more powerful than an Arduino, but less expensive than like a Raspberry Pi or the other ARM things. So it fits a nice niche.
Yeah.
Because
price performance is going to be, a lot of the development that's going to happen is going to be more bang for the buck, more efficient processing, and more tailored, standards for specific tasks like this.
Well, let me read just a little bit from the article. It says, so why does the industry need another CPU architecture when a typical workload for many applications is a data flow problem with a small amount of control? The answer lies in the many ways in which the RISC-V architecture can be evolved, and some of these may involve a slow migration rather than attempting to cross a wide chasm. A couple of weeks ago, the RISC-V community held its annual summit in Europe, yada, 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 showcasing the increasing manner in which RISC-V is being used. These things are showing up everywhere. These things, because sort of like Houston, there's no rules, man.
It's no zoning.
You can do whatever you want with this thing. If you have a company and you just want to build something and not have to pay royalties, this is your thing. And there's a fully developed set of tools for it. It's not like starting from scratch, because all of the toys are there. All of the compiler toys are there. Optimization. It's like a real thing. So I was just going to point this out, that this is one of these things that if you're a hobbyist or a professional, you should probably become aware of it, because it may not be as prominent as ARM, but it's going to be, I think, at some point. All right. So let's stop talking about that. I was going to talk to you about boats. I know it's a ship, but I'm going to call it a boat because I know it sort of annoys you. So this happened last week. I used to do the same thing to my grandfather's Skep. It's okay. Historic ex-Nazi ship comes to San Francisco this weekend. So look at this beautiful Coast Guard ship with all these beautiful sails coming out of the harbor. And what do they do in this article? They have to emphasize the fact that we basically took this from the Nazis and made it be our own ship, as people do all the time, right? I feel like the stank should be off of this at some point. At what point does it just become an American ship?
Yeah,
well, it just is. Look, if you know anything about the navies about the world, the navies are built out of old American and Russian ships. You know this, right? North Korea doesn't build new submarines. They buy old Yankee class submarines from Russia. And the North Korea for a long time didn't buy destroyers. They just bought old Fram 2s out of our graveyards and refurbed them. That's how they learned to build ships. To build destroyers like that.
Yeah.
It was probably to get ahead of it, though. Because the people who are looking for excuses to hate the American military are going to look into the history of that ship the minute they say it's a historical ship. They're going to try to they were probably going to try to see if it was one of the last slave trading ships or something like that, because they're that stupid. So they were probably trying to get ahead of it and say, yes, it's an ex-Nazi ship.
What is the provenance of that ship?
Okay, well, let's see. Let's go here. Let's see. Was built by the Nazis in the 1930s. Let's see.
Drop anchor in San Francisco this weekend.
For the first time. Well, this was actually last weekend, unfortunately.
Baroque Eagle. I like the name.
It's not Baroque. It's BARQUE. Is
Baroque.
Are you sure?
Yeah, there should be an O there. My dyslexia kid.
The ship Eagle.
Stretched. The bark eagle. Or
it's the eagle.
No, that's called a bark. By the way,
it's just bark.
Eagle.
Okay, so despite the ship's moniker as America's tall ship, Nazi Germany's Navy originally commissioned it to be built in 1936 at the Blumenvoss shipyard in Hamburg. The craft was christened the Horst Vessel from a stormtrooper who penned the official Nazi anthem before the United States claimed it as war reparation at the end of World War II. It's ours. We took it. Why does it have to have the stigma of previously, having the bad symbol on it? It's ours. Okay. It's been ours far longer than it was ever theirs.
Harry, doesn't stop anybody who's looking for an excuse. You know that. I guarantee you they did it to get ahead of it. So this way they can go, yes, we know it's a former Nazi ship. We took it as reparations. Sit down and shut the fuck up. That's what they did. Because if they tried to act if they never acknowledged the fact that it was an ex-Navy and Nazi ship, everyone on the internet who loves to stir that kind of crap up would have gone, it's a former Nazi ship. The America's turning into Nazis. I guarantee you that's what would have happened.
It's a perfectly good ship. And unlike the Mexican Navy, we didn't crash the masts into a bridge. So
believe you me, that bridge right there is much higher than those masts.
I know. Now, don't explain away a good joke.
Yeah, but just so you know, I have sailed under that on a U.S. under that very bridge right there on a U.S. Navy ship several times.
Yeah,
and I have looked out my fantail and seen the Enterprise after us, and they have to make sure she's low enough in the water. If I remember correctly, I believe it was the Enterprise that they had to do some ballasting to get her low enough in the water to pass under to where a swell wouldn't take her potentially into a collision.
In my massive collection of images, I have one that I've shared with you of the Enterprise going under underneath the Golden Gate.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, it's the whole thing about the magic spirits that live in objects because they used to be in a place or thing. Like I have my grandfather's mug. Right, and I call it the ancestor mug. Okay, they just happen to have it. I have a mug that's from Port Marion, the village where they shot the TV series The Prisoner. A friend of mine got me a mug from that shop, so it has that place memory thing in it, right? So it has significance, but it's just like any other thing, right?
It's just a marker in your life.
And I sort of understand why, if it has personal emotional significance, that's one thing. But I don't understand why we're still harping on about the fact that we took this ship from the Nazis, so it's got some sort of taint on it because of that.
Because the internet has
probably
given
pretty well built, because they were building good sailing ships.
It's probably a great ship, and it's ours now.
It is.
But Harry, to answer your question, it's because the internet has given every idiot in the world a voice online, and people, for some reason or another, decide that they're going to give attention to the idiots online. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, if we stopped giving any attention to these idiots online, they would lose all power, and they would just basically stop existing in the discourse. And we don't, because that's not how the algorithms in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever are designed. They're designed so that these contentious issues that idiots bloviate about are the ones pushed to the top of people's feeds, because those are the ones that 90% of people will engage with. And so it's a what's that kind of loop? The
feedback loop.
Yeah, it's kind of a feedback loop, but I mean, it's
like an Ouroboros.
Ouroboros loop. Thank you. Where it's constantly eating its own tail, but it's growing in size as it's eating its own tail. It's so fucking weird. It's something I've never fully understood, but I have taken part of once or twice.
Like how you fly in Minecraft. Create a block, destroy a block. Okay, let's see. I do want to talk about this as well while we're talking about boats. I know it's not really a boat. Stolen gold from 18th century French shipwreck could lead to charges for U.S. novelist and her husband.
Oh.
Okay.
That is a
so
case.
I have many feelings about this particular story. Long story short, there was a shipwreck off the coast of France, or French territory. And back in the 70s, people would occasionally take some of the gold ingots that were just down there, okay? They hadn't gotten around to securing them. Somebody pulled a handful of these things and then gave them to a relative to sell. In fact, one of them even showed up to be appraised on an episode of Antiques Roadshow. Okay, it's like, if you're going to peddle gold that you're not supposed to have, maybe showing it off on Antiques Roadshow is not the best thing. So it's not clear how many ingots are still out there or how many might have been melted down and sold to pad somebody's nest egg, but 5 remain together and intact with Chinese characters. Essentially, this was Chinese gold that was involved in trade. They were heading back to France when this thing sunk. Okay. So
was it in? My one question is, did the ship sink in international waters?
We're getting there. Okay. So the French have some weird ideas about what they consider to be things of historical importance when it involves...
The French always have a weird idea what they think is historical importance.
And this is why I love the French, but I kind of hate the French at the same time. Yeah. Okay, the 5 gold ingots used as currency by Chinese traders were among the treasures picked up by some discreet divers around 1975 from the ocean floor off the coast of France. The ship they had been on, the Prince de Conte, was a frigate that belonged to the French East India Company, and it was just 10 miles from shore, about to return to port at Lorient, France, when it sank amid fog and rough seas and an apparent navigational error by its captain on December 3rd, 1746. On board was tea, lots of Qing dynasty porcelain. King?
Yeah.
No. What's the spell?
Q-I-N-G.
Q-I-N-G. King.
Q-I-N-G. Okay, King. Okay, dynasty porcelain and around 100 gold ingots embossed with Chinese characters, each worth about $25,000 in today's dollars. Nearly 200 men drowned.
Says it's Qing.
Qing, okay. And only 45 on board survived the wreck. Salvage efforts were thwarted by rough seas in 1747, so the shipwreck became the stuff of local lore in Brittany for over 2 centuries until a group of divers decided to secretly check it out for themselves in 1974. Okay. Yes, it was off the French coast. Yes, it's clearly salvage. It had been there for a hell of a long time. The whole thing confuses me. Why is Chinese gold, because it was involved in a trade with the French, somehow considered to be a French antiquity. I get that there's a tie to a historical thing that happened, but to me, this really feels like the French government just being annoying and French. So, for instance, in France, you don't actually have mineral rights to your own soil the way we do in most of the rest of the world. I know it varies from, piece of land to piece of land and state to state. But in France, there was a farmer a couple decades ago who found a bunch of gold on his land. And you know who that gold belongs to? The French government. Why? Because France. And as an American, this just pisses me off. Yeah.
Slowly melt it down and disperse it over years.
Because I think that the French claim on this as being sort of an antiquity seems pretty dubious. It really just sounds like if they had one gold thing and they basically paid them a reasonable price for it, and that one piece of gold bullion was in a museum, right? And they talk about it in context. Okay, fine. We've got the history part of it covered. Why do you need 200 of them? How does that tell the story any better? And what about the salvage rights of the people who found the thing?
That's my question is, what about the salvage rights? Because it was under the water in the water, right? So.
Yeah, and if it was that big a deal historically, why didn't they go find it earlier? I mean, you sat around for like hundreds of years, not, with your thumb up your butt, not doing anything. And now all of a sudden somebody finds this. Oh, no, that's mine.
No, we used to call this the dog in the manger.
Okay, go Skep.
Where the dog wouldn't let the donkey into the manger because the dog wanted the manger all to himself, and the dog didn't have any interest in the hay, didn't have any interest in keeping the donkey out, just being mean. That's all this is, just being hateful.
Yeah,
well, I mean, this is French MO though. Like, we're not going to do the work for it, but the minute you do the work for it, we'll take it from you.
That's part of the French persona. I mean that seriously.
Africa.
I think that's part of the French personality is a freak of cruelty and kind of angry. Don't get over on me. Don't get ahead of me. They get mad when people are successful at stuff and it's not them. French are funny people. I've dealt with a lot of French people in my life.
It's a real love-hate thing, isn't it? I mean,
it is very, very much so.
Every now and then they're awesome. I'm sorry, Serenity, go.
Well, no, it's just they seem like they're just very petty. Like, it's this weird. It was like tying it to more modern thing, the Macron-Trump thing, where Macron was like, no, I know why Trump left the G7 conference. This is the reason why he left. And Trump was like, no, it didn't. Shut up. You don't know anything.
Yeah, you can't mind read, schoolboy.
It's just this weird thing where it's kind of like, it's okay to want, every country should want to have some semblance of power to both protect itself as well as protect its allies. That's not a problem. Mm-hmm. It's this weird thing of like, it's like the guy or girl who peaked in high school, but they're in their like 50s or 60s and they haven't peaked since, and they can't deal with the fact that they haven't peaked, that they peaked so long ago, so they just keep bringing up the one football game or the one cheerleading competition or whatever, or the debate team or whatever.
That one touchdown that won the championship.
And then my knee busted out or something like that. And now
5 touchdowns in one game at Polk High.
Yeah, exactly, Al Bundy. Yeah. But
sweep the leg.
But that's the thing. Like, the French were a world power at one point. Yeah. And it's been like 300 years. Build a bridge and get over it.
No, they're a world power now. Don't kid yourself.
Okay.
France is a powerful country.
I mean, to the point of like British Empire level world power.
Well, they're not imperial and they're not colonial anymore. But in terms of their influence, both economically, militarily, just about every way you can slice it, they are powerful. They have a powerful military, and they're one of the only other countries who can deliver an aircraft carrier on site. They can project strategic power. There's only 2 or 3 countries that can.
I like the fact that their nuclear warheads aren't boring looking. They actually paint them like this glossy black enamel
Yes.
You know, it just, I think there's like a little bit of a red accent on it. I mean, they look like, if you imagine in your mind what a nuclear warhead should look like.
Out of a Bond movie.
Yeah, out of a Bond movie. It's like the French actually got it right.
Yes, I agree. I know just what you're talking about.
But I have a related story. This cropped up. I was looking at something, and it was very confusing to me because it was a list of nuclear powers, and it was rating them. And there was an entry for something called Jeff. And of course, people have seen this and they go, why is Jeff on this list of people who have nuclear warheads? Who the hell is this Jeff guy? What do we have to do about this? So I thought I'd mention this if you've never seen it before. People are confused why Jeff is on a list of nuclear superpowers. Have I mentioned this before? Because I kept meaning to do it. Okay.
I don't know. This is new for me.
Okay, so since the creation of nuclear weapons, we have lived in a world where an all-out war could destroy humanity many times over. Studies have found that just 100 or so warheads could plunge the world into nuclear winter, which they claim, blah, 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 billions of people, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so keeping track of them, of course, is pretty important. We don't want to end up like the U.S. losing 6 nuclear weapons that we know of, right? At the moment, there are 9 countries in possession of nuclear weapons: Russia, the U.S., China, the UK, France, Pakistan, Israel, North Korea, and India.
Israel is not verified.
Right. The 10th biggest, it's one of those open secret things. The 10th biggest possessor of nuclear weapons, according to an old graphic by CNN, based on data from the Federation of American Scientists, is Jeff. So the question is, who the fuck is Jeff? Okay, let's just see if I can make this a little bigger here. Okay, so here's Jeff over on the right.
It's really good.
So,
I love that.
Who the hell is Jeff?
Fucking Jeff.
Just some poor guy.
Who the fuck is Jeff?
Doing his best.
Here's farmer Jeff. Jeff Bezos. Okay,
like one nuclear artillery shell. You know, that's
okay. So
I am amazed people didn't turn it into Jeff Bezos, though.
Well,
I really am.
They tried. So while this resurfaces every now and then, you have no need to fear nuclear Armageddon being instigated by some disgruntled guy named Jeff.
Jeff.
Okay, so Jeff is not a person, but an acronym for Joint Evaluated Fission and Fusion Project, and international collaboration to create a library of nuclear data. It is likely that a data mishap placed Jeff on the chart, making it ever so briefly and only on a bar chart the 10th biggest holder of nuclear weapons in the world.
Nice.
Nicely
That's
done.
awesome.
Who the hell is Jeff?
Who the hell is Jeff?
I love this.
Why does he have nuclear weapons?
Jeff. Yeah. That was like my favorite thing of the week about 4 weeks ago. It just kept getting bumped. So apparently
very good.
There are camels in Australia. I did not know this, but sort of like we have wild horses. Yeah. The British decided, hey, we've got this whole country that we have to explore. So why don't we bring in a ton of camels and use those? So it said between 1870 and 1920, as many as 20,000 camels were imported into Australia from the Arabian Peninsula, India, and Afghanistan, together with at least 2,000 handlers or cameleers for the same regions. Nice. The animals were mainly dromedaries, half-ton ungulates with a single hump. They were ideally suited for the climate of Australian interior. They could go for weeks without water, yada, yada, yada. We all know about camels. But yeah, now there's like wild camels running around Australia, just having a good old camely time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody knew this but me, apparently. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that was in science book back when I was like elementary school, having pictures of the camels in it.
Well, this is better than the hippos running around in South America because it Pablo Escobar brought them in?
Yeah, they're not hyped up on coke.
So the cocaine hippos are running around there.
The cocaine hippo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm high. Wee. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I guess Serenity's with us. Okay, so we're 45 minutes in. We can do another animal story since it's right here on the spreadsheet. Dwarf sperm whale, the pint-sized whales that gush gallons of intestinal fluid when surprised. Well, apparently, these little guys...
What?
These little guys, these dwarf sperm whales, they release this intestinal fluid, which is red. Okay, so when they get when something frightens them or threatens them or whatever, they basically, like a giant squid, they just spew this red stuff all over the place. So growing up to 8 feet, 10 inches long, they are the smallest species of whale. Look, how cute. The dwarf sperm whale. Yeah.
Little babe.
Yep. But they have
what are they called? Grampus Greasus?
I don't know.
It was up there.
So there's the...
This isn't actually blood. It's a clever defense mechanism. Each dwarf sperm whale is equipped with a sac of dark, reddish-brown liquid in its intestine. When danger strikes, these whales can eject over 3 gallons of this ink-like substance, creating a dense, dark cloud in the water.
Hey, well, when you're that small, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
They shit themselves and then run.
If somebody down to that first block of text.
This block of text?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Grampus Greasus.
Yeah, Grampus. They are even smaller than some dolphins, such as Grampus Greasus, which is a different dolphin.
Oh.
Yeah. Not that it really matters.
I'm looking for its...
Kaniga, it's like Kaniga or something like that. Pygmy sperm whale.
There's pygmy sperm whales out there as well.
Yeah.
That's what these guys are.
Are these animals look so similar?
Well, there's the pygmies. These are the dwarf sperm whale.
Oh, okay. So there's dwarf and then pygmy.
Yeah. Oh, Kogiasima is the Latin name.
Yeah. I'm so surprised. That sounds like somebody who would make a really kick-ass kaiju movie, doesn't it?
Kogiasima-san.
Kogiasima-san. Oh.
And then
we'll have a little something related to that later in the show. I just have to put it at the end because we might get copy struck into oblivion. Yeah.
Oh, they have a funny face. They look special.
So
they are special, Sora. They're real special.
They're suction feeder too. Interesting.
That's terrible.
I like animals.
All right. Well, let me veer in a very, very different direction here. So, the state of California
Whippomorpha
is trying to, they're trying to decide whether they want to just let data centers go crazy or if they want to regulate them, i.e., be a giant pain in the ass over green this and tax the shit out of them. Because why let Virginia have all the fun and the other states like Texas have all the fun with all the new data centers when we could just do what California does and throttle the industry before it gets, going too well? Well, the example I like to talk about is Santa Clara. So Santa Clara is right in the heart of Silicon Valley. A lot of the old Intel fabs and things like that, the old Silicon Valley is like there. This is Stanford is where people developed all this stuff, and then this is where all of the early stuff was built up, was Santa Clara and Sunnyvale. So right now, let's see, how many data centers have they got? Well, look at this map. There's like 58 data centers, including the approved and unbuilt ones, in one city. One city, 58 data centers. That is a lot of data centers.
Hey, California, that might be the reason why you have energy problems. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, what's unique about Santa Clara is unlike they're not serviced by PG&E. They actually have a municipal utility district. Not only
their little hearts, never mind.
Not only do they have power, but they're serious about keeping it up. The power almost never goes out in Santa Clara ever. I only know of one time the power ever went out for like a little bit in Santa Clara over all the years. So the power always stays on. It costs less than half of what it costs in the rest of California, even for the commercial sites. It's not a coincidence that talented people and cheap power is giving the rest of the country a run for its money in Santa Clara. That's a lot of data centers in a pretty small amount of space.
So what you're telling me is that Gavin Newsom's going to mysteriously get another big thing that he can add on to an addition of his house, and then mysteriously Santa Clara is going to get a ban from California to have everything go out to PG&E, is what you're going to tell me.
Who the hell knows? But Silicon Valley Power, which is the city of Santa Clara, so they're upgrading the capacity that comes into the city right now because they're using a ton of power. So what they're doing is at most recent meeting, City of Santa Clara Council heard a biannual update from Silicon Valley Power. In 2024, they saw 2 new peaks topping out at 722 megawatts. And the capacity of the entire system is 750 megawatts. So what do? Well, in Santa Clara, instead of rationing and doing the stupid California, they say, well, screw that. How about we just kick ass and increase our capacity to 1.3 gigawatts? Now, Santa Clara is not a huge town. It's like, get some. We're just going to keep building colos. It's going to be fine. 1.3 gigawatts of power. And they had to do a little bit of eminent domain to get right of way to put in the new lines and stuff. So unlike other places where they just say, hey, that's a nice farm you have. What do you say we take that and then my buddy can build houses on it for a profit? Eminent domain is one of those things that we could talk about every single show. Yes. About bad examples of how governments do this stuff. Between that and civil asset forfeiture, I'm so glad the Institute for Justice exists, but they're doing it very responsibly. One of the few examples of it being responsible. So they're doing a little tiny bit of eminent domain so they can bring in some new power lines. They need to do it, and it's good for the whole city. This is a huge part of the economy around here, this sort of stuff. I deal with a lot of these data centers. These are people, I have a lot of dealings with them, but it was 50. I've been to probably more data centers than most people. I'm fairly sure that's true. I'm trying to think of why. But yeah, just in dealing with all kinds of stuff. So Santa Clara is actually a really great place if you know how to use a screwdriver. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yep. So if you have to move to California and try to go to Santa Clara, I got you.
Or San Diego, because the weather is just amazing. The weather here has been so incredibly good for the last several weeks. I actually feel guilty about it. Okay.
You should.
Even
feel guilty.
Even by California standards, the weather has been incredibly nice all summer. There was one little hot patch, but I am spoiled rotten. So when it's like on fire and there's smoke and it's 115 degrees again, you guys can give me all kinds of shit because
don't worry, we will.
Hashtag blessed. It's been pretty great.
Like, it's whatever California
weather.
Yeah, I am good weather, absolutely, but it's one of those things whenever Californians do like, our weather is the best. And it's like, all right, 2 weeks from a fire now.
Well, so far, nothing's caught fire. This has like been fantastic. As long as I get my apricots in, I'm going to be happy.
They've been building data centers like mad up here, mostly because
power.
It's perfect. Well, the thing is, when you put them in colder climates, they use less power because there's less cooling needed and blah 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, basically power. We're also a power generating province, so even here in Toronto, I think at last count there were like 85, and I visited about a dozen of them, but they're interesting places.
Yeah,
they're really unassuming, like in the heart of like the city. Like they look like any sort of several story tall building you would never assume from the outside, but you go in and it's just like you get past the main sort of like area in the front, and then in the back it's just every floor is just rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows. It's really kind of cool. I'm kind of jealous that you kind of get to see these all the time because they're just power.
Well, I remember, growing up, little computers, right? Little computers, and then at a university, you might see a VAX or two on the other side of a glass wall, and it's a real shock the first time you walk out onto a computer room floor that's just packed full of stuff. It's so unlike working with PCs and small devices. It is a bit of a shock, especially with all the new stuff that they've got now with water cooling and all the other crap that's going on. Well, speaking of water, talk about housing a lot, right? And we talk about water a lot. Well, here's the two things sort of converging. Somebody built a big development in the Central Valley where there's no freaking water. They have to bring it all in, and they thought, hey, this is a great idea. Let's build golf courses and fancy houses, and everything's going to be fine. Unfortunately, this utopia that they tried to create in the Central Valley is just running out of water. The golf course is basically dead. And right now they're saying, well, you can pay 300% more for water if you want the taps to keep running or not. And it's just, 600 homes, shuttered golf course. This is absolutely terrible. So they were buying it from the Kern County Water District, 200 miles away. And the Kern County Water District is saying, yeah, you're years behind on your water bills at this point. And the people who live there are just faced with a choice, write off their house and leave and go somewhere else, which you really can't do when you're hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in, or pay 3 times more for enough water to...
No, they're extorting them.
Yeah. This is the whole thing about water rights. Everything in the West is water. Because we just don't have it. Everything in the West all centers around water politics. At least in California. It was really dumb of them to do this because they thought they had the water supply locked down, but they didn't. Smarter people should have helped them with those arrangements. What were you going to say, Skep?
It's hard to find those smarter people at the exact moment you need them.
Well, lawyers are evil, right?
Of course.
But amongst those lawyers, there are a few that specialize in things like real estate. And one of the things that people specialize in are water rights.
Yeah, buddy.
And if I had to do it all over and wasn't going to, I wouldn't be like a plastic surgeon or anything like that. Screw that. I'll become like a water rights attorney and just hang out my shingle.
Yeah.
Retire when I'm 40. It'll be fine. But yeah, they built a whole bunch of houses and, here's what it looks like from space. Can you see why they have a water problem?
Desert?
Yeah. You built a bunch of houses in the desert and you wonder why it sucks.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Again, it's why I like my little pocket of the world, because we got water, we got power, we got trees. I've even shown you guys pictures from my balcony, and it's basically green space and a few sparse buildings in the far distance. It's because this area of Southern Ontario, even in the largest city in Canada, is nothing but green space. And I told Harry, I went to the Royal Botanical Gardens on Friday, and I'm amazed. It's just like they're just tucked away, and then like as I was sitting in the middle of this botanical garden, that low hum of the city, cars and machinery and all that, like it's barely audible, and I'm just like, this is heaven. So it makes it's so funny that, yeah, standing out here in the middle of this patch of land before all this was developed, you might look around and you go, it'd be nice to live here, until you realize, yeah, there's no water, there's no rain, there's no animals of fauna, flora, like it's desert. There's a reason why people didn't settle in deserts, except for a certain tribe of people who actually greenified the desert. But, allegedly.
Yeah. Did I tell you I bought a white motorcycle helmet? I told you I bought a motorcycle helmet, but the white one. My God, it is so fantastic. I ride around when it's like almost 100 degrees and I don't feel like my head's in a solar oven now. It's pretty great.
And then he blinds everybody else.
Go full on Lawrence of Arabia.
That's okay.
That's what I'm going to do. Just going to wear
all
white.
The other drivers, Harry. Just blind all the other drivers.
But of course, we can solve the water problem because these assholes are still running around. I don't understand why people don't see through this nonsense. California is full of hidden reservoirs. These mystics find them. Okay, journalistic excellence. Why are you even... Why?
They do the thing with the stick
with
the two sticks, and then they cross, and I guess there's water here. This is the
dowsing rod.
Yeah,
don't think so. I think that's more like a What's the thing that you call when you check your oil in your car?
Dipstick.
Yeah, that's like an aqua dipstick, isn't it? Where they drill the hole into the ground, they put a dipstick down there, and they test to see if there's water.
Yeah, but what they do is it's two L-bent metal like rods that they wait until they cross, and then they say that's where water is.
I'm aware. Yeah, I'm aware of what a dowsing rod does, but
this guys are doing dowsing.
This is like somewhere between astrology and chiropractic are dowsers.
Yeah.
Except I don't understand what the appeal is. I mean, because sometimes if you don't get crippled by a chiropractor, some people actually get some relief, temporary relief, but they get some good out of it, right? And people enjoy having their horoscopes done. And some people take it really seriously. And who am I to take a giant dump on their parade? I'm happy they're happy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm totally happy they're happy.
Feng shui, enjoy.
Yeah. It's great. But but these people are just I don't know, are they useful idiots or clueless parasites or shifty people?
Well,
he looks like an honest enough guy.
Those things.
He looks like he should be telling me to eat oatmeal. I mean, he doesn't look like a bad
Be
guy.
wary of diabetes.
The diabetes.
Yeah, he looks like Wilfred Brimley.
He does.
I mean, everybody. Oh, I see.
He even brought his chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Letting his metal rod spin. Okay.
Everybody needs to try to find some way to make money.
This is terrible. Okay, moving on.
All right.
Stupid thing. Now, can't do that.
Doesn't believe in witchery and thinks it's voodoo.
How about a craft thing? And by craft, I mean like using your hands and being skilled, not Michael's craft. How about a craft thing? 164 hours to make a Lord of the Rings chessboard.
Oh, baby.
Okay, so this is pretty damn cool. So they made this Lord of the Rings chessboard, and it's every bit the pain in the ass you'd imagined it would be. So,
Cool.
Yeah, this is super cool. So, gotta cut those cards up, and then there's some earth elements and stuff, arrange them, and then, well, you can see what's happening. You don't need me to tell you. Transparent
I did
parts.
something like this with Warhammer.
The big thing with
very different
with gel is you get bubbles, and then you have to basically go in and clean them out and then redo them to fill them. Resin is a real pain in the ass to work with.
Resin is, I will tell you, as somebody who works with resin on the daily, it is such a pain in the ass, but it is such a wonderful material to get when you get right. It's so much. It's so good.
But the end result of this is insane. It's just really, really insane.
Of course, they took the figures.
See, now I did the opposite. I kind of skimped out on the board and made the figures from hand. But it still looks amazing.
Peter Paliffi Creative, really outstanding work. I don't think this is the sort of thing you would be able to afford to buy. This looks more like something you'd do for somebody you care about. I don't think you're going to contact
commissions from someone like me.
Yeah, you would need to have, this would be a special commission.
That would be like commissioned for Peter Jackson on the 25th anniversary of Return of the King.
Like, okay, so the chess pieces are bought, but the board, I just a rough ballparking off the top of my head, something that would be easily 2 Gs.
Yep. For the amount of time that's invested in it.
Yeah. It's not a lot soaked into the materials. The resin is probably the most expensive part. But it is just a lot of time. Because like you said, resin is just a fickle mistress. There are techniques, and I would hope that this person learned from doing this to avoid the air bubbles as much as possible. There's ways to like cool it and the way you pour and all this other thing to sort of lessen the bubbles. So there are ways to do it a little bit more efficiently than I believe I saw through this short that they did, but good work all the same. It's really cool. The one thing I will sort of take a little bit of creative criticism with is I don't like the layout of the board. It's too hard to tell the blacks and the whites. Not that it's game breaking, but I would have liked to have seen that delineation a little bit more so that you can see some of the tiles. They're very light colored. Some are very dark. If they found a way to pattern that after an actual chessboard so that it looked a little bit more chessboard-like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still pretty cool.
Okay, well, there's no good transition to this next topic. We have both of the ladies with us, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, shut up. Every word has come back to haunt me. China cracks down on women who write gay erotica. Okay.
China makes most of its money. What?
So isn't this the
BL?
This is the boy love stuff that they do.
Yowie.
I guess
Yowie.
I don't
Yowie.
Like I said, I don't try to understand other people's kinks. Okay, I just don't, because it's not a good use of my time. But I guess a lot of Chinese girls were writing a bunch of this stuff, and they just decided, nope, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to allow you to do this.
Which is really funny, because China's been making BL TV shows to get the money to get advertisers and stuff like that from foreign women. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's a lot of BL like dramas that they've done, and we all know that if it's like TV stuff, China has to sanction it. And like they have all of their Hoyaverse crap where all the guys are pretty and all the women and all the female players like ship the dudes. Like this is weird. Someone was either getting too powerful or someone snitched on her to get her taken out because they didn't like where she was.
Well, it says here at least
Taiwan.
At least 30 writers, nearly all of them women in their 20s, have been arrested across the country since February. A lawyer defending one told the BBC. Many are out on bail or awaiting trial, but some are still in custody. Another lawyer told the BBC that many more contributors were summoned for questioning.
It's because it was a Taiwan-based hosted platform. They didn't want Taiwan getting the money.
That makes sense because in the late 90s, China decriminalized being gay, and well, no, they did. It's just that there's no anti-discrimination or whatever. So, and of course, it's China. The CCP does whatever the fuck it wants, but you know, I was trying to understand it. But if it's Taiwan Serenity, that makes perfect sense because they've been doing every dirty, underhanded trick they can to cut off pipelines to Taiwan.
Jail for
economic
more than 10 years? Fuck you, China. God damn.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's fucking ridiculous. Well, you know, if this would be a good lot of people to come to like Canada to ask for political asylum.
Sure.
You know, refugees for this.
Well, it's like, the thing is like one, it's because it's a Taiwan hosted platform. So Taiwan's making most of the money, not China. So that's the first reason why they're pissed off. Secondly, it's most likely they're also probably tying it back to the low birth rate. So they think that because the women are watching or are reading about two guys getting it on or choosing to take that path instead of having relationships with men, they're probably trying to create the whole like I need to get laid thing and then make which they need to do both ways. So it's probably a mixture of things. But like, what was it? Producing and distributing obscene material. Half the animators for half of the hentai that comes out of air quotes Japan are in China. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to go for those animators that live there too. Yeah,
but I like you've been saying since I want to say 2015. They have been churning out mass amounts of regulatory laws to basically economically sanction Taiwan without economically sanctioning them. I mean, technically they don't recognize Taiwan as a country, so there's part of that too. But just like anything and everything that has to do with that, that doesn't involve the CCP is subject to massive lawsuits. It's so stupid. But and this in particular is very hypocritical.
Well, like that's the thing. Like, that's because if it's one thing, if it was I'm gonna out both me and Sora. If it was on AO3, which is a free platform, I don't think they could touch them. Those who don't know what AO3 is, it's a fan fiction site. We're just gonna leave it at that. Who fights to keep it open? Who doesn't take money? They don't have ads or anything like that. But because
they have it's a community funded like what once a year or something like that.
Once or twice a year, yeah. But the fact that it's like published their work on Haitang, Literature City, that basically is probably something like Webtoon, which means that basically they probably release a chapter by chapter thing, or there's ads on it. So then the company makes money, and they can't have a Taiwan hosted platform make money. So yeah, that's most likely the overarching, and then there's just the other stuff of like, well, we also need to make people start having babies. So stop paying attention to the fake men and go to the real men. That's probably what they're also hoping for. But yeah,
you gave me a segue. Speaking of babies, okay, billionaire Telegram founder leaves his $14 billion fortune to his 100+ children he's fathered. Which means 132 million for each lucky Gen Alpha kid.
Is it just him splooging into a cup? Like,
do you really want to know? I don't know.
I kind of do. He's not. Oh
no.
God, I wouldn't want to wake up.
There he is. Don't want to know.
Sam has been infamous, or Pavel, sorry, has been infamous for just sleeping around, shall we say? Yeah.
In front of him. Has he made sure all of them are his?
It says he's an official dad too, and at least 100 others born through his sperm bank donations.
So he has done
dispensing
donations
fertilizer.
Yeah, he's casting a wide net.
Says he's an official dad too, and at least 100 others born through sperm. Yeah, each year.
He's going full Genghis Khan here. He's like an IT Genghis Khan.
But that ugh.
So do you think do you think he has main character syndrome?
What's that saying? The meat shell
inherit the earth.
Just going by his face.
I figured you just go ick.
No, it is 100% ick.
It's just like he kind of looks like the dude who keeps trying to be young. You know that dude?
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
But the thing is, he's got that. So if you've seen, especially female celebrities, but the men are getting into it now, of like that weird glassy face they have when they've had too much Botox.
Mm-hmm.
That's what his face looks like. It looks like he's had too much stuff done, like filler and Botox done. That's what he looks like. But yeah, no, he gives me creepy vibes. He just blah, 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 blah.
I take satisfaction to know that this is probably going to backfire like so many other people in this kind of position. I'm talking mega wealthy who leave a bunch of money to their kids, and their kids end up growing up being complete pieces of shit. So,
shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations.
Well, it's one of those things. Probably what he's doing by having that many children, he's trying to ensure one of them will carry on the name. Like, it's like you just start throwing spaghetti at the wall just to see if one of them sticks.
Or the ceiling.
It's like, let's see if he's worth something. Here we go.
Again, the opposite has proven to be more fruitful in that if you have a small, well-together family, the children tend to do better in life and with their relationships. So, I mean, you're probably right. It is probably the propagating equivalent of Homer Simpson's makeup gun.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's just I legit think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to ensure that like one of them goes on to be something, considering some of the stuff that goes down on Telegram, and he may be part of it. We don't know. Few of them are probably going to turn out to be serial killers. I guarantee they're going to be serial killers.
Looks like he's been living in Dubai for the last few years too.
Oh, shocker! Yeah,
God.
so yeah, he's a grade A piece of.
Okay,
I think that has to do with a little bit of a threat of lawfare. I don't remember if it was Pavel or somebody else, because I remember that the DOJ wanted to investigate some of these people for their platforms.
Well, it's like I respect what Telegram, what Telegram should have been, but I know what goes down on Telegram, as what always happens. So I don't blame him for that. But at the same time, it's like there have been rumors for a number of years about the founder of Telegram, about some of the stuff he's done. And
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
I put a giant allegedly on there. Yeah. I don't know anything about that. Can't confirm any of it.
Plus, anybody who willingly hides in Dubai, I absolutely don't trust.
It's sus, but it doesn't. You can't prove anything.
I know I can't prove anything.
All right, I'm gonna.
There's a lot of Instagram hoes that you can just put some babies into.
Which means that any IQ that they may have passed on genetically just bottomed out.
Skep's trying to break in. What were you going to say, Skep?
No, that's. I was just going to say you have to be careful flinging out the accusations like that.
Yeah,
they're unfounded. They're unfounded.
But salacious. So speaking of
and so much fun.
Complete change here. Costco has a brand new cake in the bakery, and customers are eating half in one day.
God.
Peaches and cream bar cake in the bakery at Costco.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Be good.
It's supposed to actually be pretty decent. I guess some of the crap at Costco is supposed to be okay.
Oh, Kirkland brand has some really yummy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sam's Club's version of it too. Also, usually their tiramisu is really good, but it's ginormous.
They had these, I guess, flan type pudding things in a cup, but so they're frozen. This was many years ago. They don't have this anymore, and which is sad. And you keep them in the freezer, and when you're ready to eat them, like you had to remove the the part that like separates the sugary bit. It was not really a creme brulee because you can't really have a creme brulee without like a gun or whatever, but it was close. And you could put it all together and you can cook it in the microwave, and it was phenomenal. And that was Kirkland brand.
Mm.
I still think of that pudding flan thing.
What's like the Sam's Club around here, they make berry tarts. And those are really, really good. But hey man, if it means you don't gotta bake it because you ain't got the room or it's too hot, frick yeah, go for it.
You could have it for girl dinner.
That's not no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you buy like a cake from Costco and then cut a slice of it. That's okay.
I would know that for me that would be girl dinner.
For me, it's sugar crash. I would have a sugar crash. I would have a bad sugar crash.
Just eat more.
When we do, like, because there's a specific cake that we make for my birthday. That's like, and I will live off that. By
Carrot cake, I will. Carrot cake,
for the
I
next
will do
couple
that
of
with.
days. For every meal, that's what I want. That's the only thing I'll eat.
What kind of frosting do you like on your carrot cake, Serenity?
I liked a whipped cream cheese frosting.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's a good call. That's a great call. I love carrot cake with cream cheese.
We always end up talking about carrot cake. I don't know why we keep getting back to carrot cake.
Carrot cake's
stuff,
awesome.
Man. It's great stuff, man. She's absolutely right.
It's my mother's favorite cake. I like it. It is the only cake where I can eat it and I don't have a really bad sugar crash, because some of them I have really bad sugar crashes if I eat them. It's
vegetables.
Well, it's more of the cream cheese also adds has not a lot, but it adds a little bit.
It's not a vegetable. It's a starch.
Vegetable. It's got vitamin A in it. It's got vitamin A in it.
Yep.
Right.
I think
carrots are potatoes.
Yeah, they're considered starchy. But yeah. But no, yeah, I love carrot cake.
I'm trying to find a picture
pumpkin
of
pumpkin pie is my jam though, but I will eat carrot cake.
Yeah, I'm a pie guy.
Yeah. I will man, carrot cake is properly made carrot cake is probably my favorite cake.
Yes.
I'm trying to find a picture of the carrot cake that I made somewhere in here.
I do know that my mother, because she's tried carrot cake from different places, she has stated that Kroger grocery stores has the best pre-made carrot cake she's ever had. But but she also says that she likes the fact that Kroger will also sell it by the slice instead of an entire cake. So she just gets it's a giant slice though, like it's massive.
Need to commit.
And she won't commit. Not to that level, not unless she knows I'm going to eat with her. And then she's like, okay.
With me, a carrot cake, the serving side is one cake.
Yeah. I do know my
vegetables, so it's healthy.
It's good for you.
I know my favorite way to make carrot cake when I do make it for my mom is I don't do a cake. I do it in the roll.
Yeah.
Where it's the sheet.
Yeah. I got you.
And then you spread it, and then you got to make sure you get it to the right time to roll it.
Swiss roll?
Yeah.
But with carrot cake? Oh, that's interesting.
That's
I would like
really
to try
good
that.
idea. Yeah.
It freezes better that way too. So I can roll it, wrap it in parchment paper, and then wrap it in saran wrap, and then freeze it. And then we can cut it off in slices and then just where the parchment paper is around it so you can hold it. And then you just close the saran wrap back around it. So it works because you got to take the saran wrap off first and then parchment it. But you got to make sure it's cool too. Otherwise, you're going to get cracks and soggy and all kinds of stuff.
Ew. I didn't know you could freeze cake like
Harry.
Cool. I would try that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be too bad. I don't think so, because I've had some yummy jellied stuff.
That looks terrible.
That one's terrible. That one is.
I found a bunch of cakes that I've made, but I can't find the carrot cake. Oh well. I'll find
your
it.
salad stuffed avocado rings. That avocado looks wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Which one is the avocado?
It's the stuff around the outside, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it says stuffed avocado rings. It doesn't look like avocado.
The lemons? They look
That's
like
just
lemons.
50 Shades of Wrong is all that is.
Yeah, the 50 Shades of Wrong. Got that right.
Okay, I have a bit of a food rant here since we're talking about food. Okay, I'm just going to show you this.
Oh no, what's in the pizza?
I like that pie.
Let's be real. This is a pie.
Yeah,
it is a
pizza
pie.
not that pizza.
Oh, shut up, Luigi.
Okay, so we're
It's not
claiming
an Italian pizza.
okay,
it's an American
except
pizza.
for the fact that it's actually wrong. There are deep dish pizzas which are traditional Italian. Okay, I present to you pizza alla Campofranco, a Royal Neapolitan deep dish pizza. Suck it. There is such a thing as deep dish pizza from Naples, even. Okay,
From Naples. That's That's weird. You would expect it in the north, but not Naples.
yeah.
But I guarantee you, those guys are just Romas, though. They're just from Rome, and they always and from what I've heard,
You're not wrong. You're not
Roman
wrong.
They're
At
the
all.
center of the universe, and they're the only. It's like Paris.
Yeah.
It's like we are the ones who know better than you.
They're not Napolitano
You,
guys.
you know what the difference is between pizza and not pizza? Okay, and I love Chicago deep dish pizza, even though it's a delicious casserole.
It's a delicious casserole that I enjoy.
The difference is this has an actual bread-like pizza crust in it. Okay, so it actually is pizza bread, but it's shaped and it's thick and it's got stuff in it. Unlike Chicago pizza, where you can literally make like pastry crust with butter and cornmeal and all that sort of stuff and shape it into there. It's not bread. It doesn't have a pizza base to it. The bread is not there. So without an actual pizza crust, it's not really pizza. That's where the difference is. But deep dish is not the problem. It's not the problem. The problem is it doesn't have a pizza crust.
Is the crust.
Yeah.
The problem is
has nothing to do with the thickness of it. The thickness
No.
of it is not even the issue.
Yes, exactly. Getting the squishy part right is easy. Getting the crust right is what's hard with pizza. And if it's not a pizza crust, it's not pizza.
Yeah, and if you want to get into an argument about like whether Detroit pizza is actually focaccia with stuff on top or not, just shut up and feed me. I don't care. There's all kinds of delicious things with bread and topping and sauce. I like them all, honestly, but that thing irritated me because there are definitely deep dish traditional pizzas from Italy, but they're not well known because this is the stuff that the fancy people would eat. They didn't want to eat the street food, so like the royals would eat this. This is not, it's kind of like there's royal Thai cuisine, which is completely different from the regular Thai cuisine. Maybe people don't know that, but that's the thing, right? There's a completely different thing. So this is what the fancy people would be eating.
Well, I mean, but that's the issue also is like, I think those boys are Roman. So it's like from Rome. So I think that's the other problem because like Sora said and get back and said too, it's like people from Paris. They think they're the only French and they think they're the only Italians. The Romans do. So it's like, just shush. There's better food than what's in Rome.
I would love to spend a whole bunch of time in Italy and find out more about it. I love Italian food. I really do. But that video annoyed me enough that it was like, I knew about this before their stupid video came on. It's like, don't pretend you're an expert on shit that you're not an expert on because clearly you're wrong. There you go.
Well, they're one of the channels that likes to shit on American food.
I brought receipts. As opposed to the Jolly channel, which is great. A bunch of English people come over here and eating barbecue and having like these life-changing experiences. Yeah.
Ollie and Josh.
I like it when the one guy brings his dad on.
Oh,
and then they feed him barbecue. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, mind you, that barbecue that was in England didn't look the way as much as it should have.
Yeah, but it's just compared to English food, so it's okay.
Yeah. And there was the one pie episode where they went to the American who has a pie shop in England, in London. And all his pies looked amazing until you got to the key lime pie. And it was like, that's not key lime pie. You sit down and shut the F up.
Yeah,
I don't know what your Alabama butt is making, but that ain't key lime pie. That's a cake. Sit down.
Well, there's a woman named Bee Vo who's, I think she like emigrated to the U.S., naturalized, started baking. She has like a really fantastic cake shop with stuff. Sora would love this place in England, in the fancy parts of London. She has a couple different ones, and her book, I think it's called Tea with Bee, is probably, if you were going to give somebody a gift, that's a great gift to give them if they want to get into baking.
I think it's one of the books you told me about.
Yeah. Well, because I recommend it to everybody who I like, who I think has some talent. So it's a really great book.
Tea with Bee, recipes from bees of Bloomsbury.
Yep. Outstanding book. And I have made several things from that book. Her chocolate buttermilk cake recipe is the best one I know of. It's really, really good. When I want chocolate cake, that's the one I make for myself. It's outstanding. Let's see. Okay, we have to talk about other things. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? We can talk about that. We can talk about that. We could do some sexist coffee ads. Sure,
Okay.
why not?
Oh.
Want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
Oh my.
Pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee.
All
the
right,
girls down at the
I'll
office
stick
make
the
better
cup in,
coffee on their hot
motherfucker.
plate.
Here we go. Harsh
Well.
coffee.
Maybe
See
he'll
what-
like some turpentine.
Yeah.
And you didn't even kiss me goodbye.
Yeah.
You know,
What's a
if I
tar
could
in
just
that
Shitty
make a
coffee
decent
maker,
cup of
you're not gonna
coffee,
get a
I could
kiss goodbye.
relax. So relax. Why don't you try instant Folgers? Tastes good.
Yeah, I love these old ads.
My husband doesn't love me anymore because I don't make the coffee the way he wants to. Well, he's a worthless piece of shit. No, I'm kidding.
Just he is a worthless piece of shit. But
Because that was harsh, man.
Yeah,
that was wow.
that was pretty bad.
God dang.
Let's see. We can talk about this before Serenity takes off, I think. So I love this, but I hate this. MIT student prints AI polymer masks to restore paintings in hours. Now, anybody who knows about fine art restoration of paintings, it is a art and a skill, and there's only a small handful of people who know how to do it, and there's a ton of art just waiting to be restored.
There's a sub branch of chemistry under that area.
Yeah, the people who do this stuff professionally know all about what kinds of paints were used, what kind of sealants were used. They can tell you, you know, where the shellac came from. They can tell you everything about these things. And ultimately, after they figure out how to clean it safely, and they, you know, what is it? Trying to think what they do basically to stabilize any cuts or tears or anything that's in it. There's all this art that they have to do. And at some point, they have to actually paint things in. Now, what this guy is suggesting is that what you do is you clean the painting, take a scan of it, and then let AI decide what's missing, and then create this huge mask that goes over the top of the actual painting. And then you apply color in this mask that basically gets like 3D printed.
And a certain sameness came over all of the art in the world.
A real artist, somebody who understands not just like they could paint for themselves, right? And they would have their own style, but they understand the style of the person they're doing the restoration of. If there's like a tear or something, they have to essentially use their artist's skill to emulate that artist and then fill in that thing. I don't trust a computer to do this at all. I don't care how good AI is.
No way. They'll all come out looking not all the same, but there'll be a cloying sameness, a cloying commonality that will make you think, it just takes a little bit of the authenticity out of it.
Yeah, I don't.
To me, that's what it does to me.
Well, I feel like an artist creates this thing, they sign it, and then an art restorer who knows about art history, a skilled artisan in their own right, fixes this thing, and then they put their name in back. There's a note that's put behind it, right? And then over the years, it could be 2,000 years ultimately at some point, there's going to be a whole series of signatures of the artists who touched this thing. It's a human creation. The second you let AI algorithms decide what the thing is supposed to look like to restore it vanishes. It vanishes. And this is the same debate we had, you know, with Man Ray and photography. People saying, well, is photography art, right? That's a whole conversation that I'm totally prepared to have, but I don't think anybody wants to hear it right now. But to my mind, this crosses a line, and it's like, as impressive as the work is, I don't want to. I don't want to. I think this is terrible.
I think if it was used to help the artist figure out some gaps to fill if it's so badly decimated, I think that would be good, but that's about as far as it would go. It still needs to be done by human hands.
Yeah.
This feels like a kid who someone that they liked went for the painter instead of them, so now they're trying to get revenge.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like.
Yeah, I know that feeling. So for instance, a simple example, right? So suppose you have a wooden frame around the painting, and the wooden frame has like a crack. There's a gap in it. And you have to fill that in with wood putty. And then to make it look like the original wood, you look at what's on both sides of it. And then the way you, as a human, know how wood behaves, you literally will paint in with pigment to restore that wood grain, to make it look the way it was originally. Mm-hmm. That is art. Yeah. That's art in its own sense. And what they're doing with the painting restoration is essentially that, but at a much higher level of difficulty.
Yeah.
Because you not only have to fill that in, but you have to use the technique of the person who painted the original painting. So much skill, decades worth of experience. And I just don't think that AI algorithms, knowing the way they work, I don't like it.
Hell, Harry.
I don't like any part of this.
Yep. I'm with you.
And I get that there's like a huge backlog of things that aren't even on display because they haven't been fixed. But I don't think expediency is an argument for doing this.
No.
Well, because it's at the end, then if you have stuff like this and you continue to allow this and actually say it goes and people use it, you destroy a skill set, because that's what happens, right? Like, well, what's point in training and restoration, or even restoring the items? Like, even if you say, oh, it's temporary while they're being, we'll do this and then we will restore this point. You're going to, what's the point of ever restoring anything when you can just make a copy over it?
Well, it is actually undoable. It is actually undoable. So I zoomed in this thing. You see, here's the mask that they put over the top of it with the pigments. The original painting actually doesn't get modified. So it's a non-destructive thing that they're doing. That's something I'm saying in favor of it. So do you see the diagram that I'm showing here in the bottom left corner?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a non-destructive process. The application of the pigments don't actually go onto the original painting. You do have to, of course, clean it up and consolidate any damage that's been done to it. But this is quite a bit faster. I still, even if it's non-destructive, I just don't want any part of it.
I'm not saying that it would have been destructive. It's just that once it gets to this point, what's the skills to fully restore it, or just allow time? I don't know. It feels almost like end of days feeling, the very futuristic and in the dystopic sense, and that like everything historical that we once had is gone, and we only have this digital.
Yeah. I'm glad we talked about Jeff today. That makes me happy. Let's see. Let's see. Trying to figure out. We have all the stuff on the spreadsheet. Hopefully, Serenity's going to get back before we do the bit that's going to get us copy struck at the end. Let's see. China.
Leave it to the end.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that way, if I have to, I can just edit the end of the show out and then push it back up again. Okay. So functional.
Mm-hmm.
It's official. An interstellar object is visiting our solar system.
Which one?
For the third time in history, astronomers have found an interstellar object hurtling through our solar system. The newly discovered space rock, named 31/Atlas, could be as large as 12 miles in diameter, and it's soaring toward the sun at a blistering pace.
Neat.
Yeah. So, based on the orbit of this thing, it is not from around here. This is not from the Oort cloud. This is just passing through from interstellar space.
It's not another planetoid that has a 25,000 year cycle around the sun.
Yeah. So what's going to be cool about this is we should be able to, with our fancy tools, figure out what the isotope distribution is for some of the things that are coming off the coma. It's making a little comet tail on it. So that should make it fairly easy to hit it with a spectroscope, and we can sort of see what that signature looks like. So anything that's from our solar system has kind of its own unique fingerprint in terms of the isotopes. So all these isotopes exist for these different elements, right? But the ratios of them change depending on whether they're from our solar system or not. What would be cool is if they could actually like get sort of the fingerprint of this thing and maybe figure out where this has been or where it came from originally. This is just me speculating. But it's pretty cool that we can actually do this kind of stuff now. Remember that long, thin, crazy shaped thing that went through? I think that was extra solar system, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just thank God we still have whales.
Yeah, just in case they need to have a conversation with stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the third time we've actually found something from outside the solar system coming through. Pretty cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to make fun of this journalism. I mean, don't feel free to all scream at once at this screen because this is dumb. How to get 100 miles per hour in any vehicle. Mechanic starts a Toyota Yaris, then he pops the hood. This supposed viral video, this guy's claiming, all you really have to do is just unplug all the spark plugs except for one. Let it run on one cylinder and everything will be fine. Because that's totally how things work. This is such bullshit. This is right up there with the water weirding those idiots. This is this generated by an AI? I don't understand this article at all. Okay, so like the first problem with this is there are systems that are designed to disable some of the cylinders. Like Cadillac, after the 1970s oil crunch, came up with a system like this. So some General Motors cars know how to turn off some of their cylinders when they're not under heavy load. And that does work. The problem with this is you're still shooting fuel into those cylinders. They're still moving. There's still compression. They're just sort of dead weight. So not only... And since the fuel isn't going to be combusted because there's no ignition, you're basically just washing the cylinder walls with a mixture of gasoline to strip away all the oil. This is a terrible, terrible idea. First of all, you're not going to get 100 miles to the gallon. Second of all, most cars won't run on one cylinder. Third of all, you're just going to destroy the engine. I don't understand, Skep. What the hell am I looking at?
What?
This is right up there with run your car on water. I don't understand what I'm looking at here.
This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. This is in motor1.com news. Makes no sense. You absolutely cannot do any of this.
No.
A Yaris barely runs on four cylinders.
Well, I was going to say Yaris barely runs in the first place.
I mean, how are you going to run it on one cylinder? You know, the way that motors work, you can't. There's like a camshaft, and no, you cannot. I actually, when I had an 8-cylinder car, I did have some problems with some cylinders not firing because I was, learning as I fixed up my own car. Mm-hmm. And, with an 8-cylinder car, you can get away with having 1 or 2 cylinders not working.
Yes.
On a 4-cylinder car, you will not get away with 3 out of 4 cylinders being disconnected.
Correct. That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
So the trouble with shit like this is people are going to believe this and then go out and disconnect stuff from their car, and then they're going to they're going to foobar their cars.
You can't keep people taking bad advice.
Yeah. This is just some bad journalism.
This is just, exactly.
It's just BS. Journalism. Yeah, it's just the worst. Let's see. The water witch people, that's bad journalism. Let's see. We covered 2 kinds of animals. We talked about Jeff. I'm so happy we finally talked about Jeff.
I love Jeff.
Talked about the art thing. That was pretty great. Sexist coffee ads. I think this is just another terrible ad. Which one is this? Oh yeah, the IRS tax monster. These people have no charisma.
Claycomb, the tax monster is attacking. Put it on screen. Done. Claycomb is the only local firm run by a retired IRS manager. We know how to defend our clients.
Have the tax victims call CPA Claycomb and Claycomb's Angel Store immediately.
We have better audio than they. We have better audio than they do.
Man, that's top notch. That's top notch.
You like the way they're wearing their little communicator badge things there? Yeah, this is...
Darlene. Was it Darlene? Is it the older lady in the back who looks like she's so done with all this?
This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, as a commercial. Even that Ford thing with the racist Indian impression with that woman for Aero Ford, even that is... No, this is terrible.
What is that? CPA XIRS SkepTok.com. I have to know what these people are.
You call them up.
Yeah, that's what I should do. Just call them. Have it be a show feature.
Yeah. We should just call them up and ask them tax questions. Yeah.
I wonder if this helped. Do you think their business increased?
I don't think it helped. It's interesting they don't seem to mention where they're located.
Yeah.
So
I'm not getting anything on.
They have 12 subscribers. So I guess this is bad because I'm punching down, but this is from 2009. So it's fine. These people have all moved on to doing something else because I can't imagine that their business was successful with this ad. Just terrible. All right. So I guess this is sort of to everybody. I've been thinking about doing more gaming and stuff. So I've been keeping an eye on what are my options for a lot of this stuff? And the more I looked at SteamOS, which is a version of Linux, and how they're able to play games on the Steam Deck, the more interesting I found all of this sort of stuff. So a Steam Deck is an x86 little handheld thing. And it runs Linux. It doesn't run Windows, it runs Linux. And the games that are designed for Windows play on the Steam Deck through a compatibility layer called Proton. And what Proton does is it basically sits between them, and it doesn't emulate, it basically translates. So it says, I want a Windows thing, and it says, oh, here's the Linux equivalent, and then it does it. So it's actually relatively fast. Right now,
a brokering program more than a pure translation.
It's like Rosetta on the Mac that lets you run Mac Silicon things on your run Intel things on your Mac Silicon computer. Yeah. So there's been a lot that's come on this sort of stuff that lets you do this stuff. People are building Linux PCs now, loading SteamOS and then playing games on them. Not a lot, but some. It's no longer like a completely stupid thing to try to do. In fact, Ars Technica was claiming that games run faster on SteamOS than Windows 11.
And it's not hard to believe.
Well, it's a little surprising because you would expect that despite all the optimizations that having to go through the translation layer would slow it down. Now, there are definitely games that will not play on these translation layers. If you look at the Steam catalog of games, not all things run on a Steam Deck, but a lot of things run on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
A lot of things run on a Steam Deck. And so this might be, I'm getting really tempted to build a little gaming system like this because it would be fun to begin with. I would sort of enjoy the challenge of putting this thing together. But I like this. Now, of course, the Apple gaming thing is coming along nicely too. They have this new game development kit that's designed to make it easier to port things over. They have their API, which is sort of like Vulkan, which is used on a lot of the x86 hardware on Windows, right? I mean, Functional, you deal with this crap, don't you?
Sure.
Yeah, so you've worked with Vulkan drivers and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is certainly better than the thing that preceded it, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. What was the silly graphics interface that they had before Vulkan?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's old history. It doesn't particularly matter. But there are like Vulkan drivers showing up for all kinds of hardware now that isn't the traditional thing. So being able to play video games almost everywhere would be great. But Apple's actually... OpenGL. Well, no, OpenGL is a different thing.
Yeah, that's
not OpenGL. It's another
GPU
thing.
Drivers.
Yeah, there's another thing in addition. But Apple's Metal interface to date, I mean, Apple's not exactly the happening gaming platform, but there's a whole lot of things out there, including AAA games that'll actually play on, Mac, Linux, and Windows. This is...
You mean Mantle?
No.
No.
I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't matter. But it would be really nice if the Windows stranglehold... I don't want it to go away. I don't have a problem with people gaming on Windows. But for somebody like me who has a system that's not a Windows system, and I don't want to buy like a whole new tower for $3,000, I just want to be able to do some casual gaming on the thing I already own. I like these options. I think this is actually pretty great. Especially if it's actually turning out to be faster, like this Ars Technica article was talking about. sorry, it's a little niche, the whole gaming on Linux thing, but a bunch of people are doing it and they don't even realize it. Did you know all the stuff about SteamOS?
SteamOS, yes.
Yeah.
Not the details of what it means in general, but that is Linux based and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
There's as far as my knowledge goes.
And the Steam people, Valve, actually want you to hack on the thing. In fact, there's a program that you can load on your Steam Deck that lets you run other types of Windows games that aren't actually in the Steam store. So they're not even locking you into the garden.
You can get Decky and other emulators and stuff, and you can do all sorts of stuff on the Steam Deck.
Maybe I should buy a Steam Deck.
EmuDeck is an app that does stuff.
Yep.
ProtonDB is one that lets you do a bunch of stuff
for
that. And because you have you can change from your Steam interface to desktop interface on the thing, and that's where you can play with everything.
Yeah, and also the whole thing with Wine/Proton, because they're really the same technology. There's this translation layer is the whole thing with Flasks, where you can basically create like a little virtual container to put your games in, means that the drivers for your games don't stomp on each other. You need a game that's compatible with Windows 10, 32-bit. You can do that. You need and it won't stomp on your 64-bit Windows 11 at all. I mean, you play a lot of different games. Do you ever run into compatibility issues between them, or does Steam do a pretty good job of isolating the problems for you?
Yeah, Steam is pretty.
I think I think age of the game can have issues, but that's kind of the, I guess, the developer or publisher's issue. Maybe if they have something, I don't know how you would say, because like certain things won't necessarily run as well.
Yeah.
So you'll have to do external modding or something like that, but still pretty good.
But this is an incredible claim that basically Linux plus translation layer gets you better frame rates on some games than running them natively on Windows 11. That implies that there's a lot of bloat in the Windows 11 that's slowing these games down.
That's what I was saying is that the Windows 11
I hate it.
has a terrible reputation.
I use it at work. One of our machines, the ones that I'm my typical station at work, is the only one with Windows 11 currently, which will change soon because we have to switch over before October, because then security updates, I think that's when they terminate. For Windows 10. So, we obviously have the Pro version, but I hate it. I hate everything about it. It sucks. Now, it's usable? Of course it's usable. Everything is usable. But at the same time, it feels clunky. I feel like there is a hesitation. Like for every time you click something, it feels like it doesn't move smoothly. There is something wrong with it. It feels like it's older than it should. There's nothing on our machines at work for it that takes up memory, yet it feels like it's taking up memory, even though if you look in store, like the system thing, it's fine. And we've had, people look at it and everything. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
And it's stupid and it sucks. And I'm against it. Yeah, I am too, but I think we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so we should probably do the thing that I've been holding off on. So many of you probably already know this, or maybe you don't. I don't have no way of knowing what you people know, right? So I'm just going to throw this out here, and some of you can say, oh yeah, everybody knows about that. But I hadn't heard of this before. Did you know that there's a Japanese version of Spider-Man?
Like the movie or the actual superhero?
The superhero.
Like the thing from the 90s?
Yeah, it was like licensed to them through like Toei, and they put this thing together. And I have to say, I've been watching episodes of this, and I'm kind of in love with it. It's absolutely terrible, but it's fantastic at the same time. So I have some samples here. So here's like a playlist of the whole thing. So this is the first episode, and I love the opening music. Yeah. This is really rocking. I gotta say, I love this.
Spider-Man.
Okay, so
Spider-Man.
this is fantastic. Okay,
No stereotype.
So he gets his spider powers and stuff, but it turns out that he has a giant robot. Because why doesn't he have a giant robot called the Marveler? And it has a Sphinx head on it because reasons. Okay.
Yeah, because
it's just cool, you know, the Spider-Man thing. Yeah, so he's using his spider sense to get something 50 kilometers away.
Very cool.
You know, and then there's, of course, fight scenes and all the stuff that goes on.
Why does he have to walk like that?
Because he's Spider-Man. So it's a little bit Power Rangers, a little bit Speed Racer, a little bit
Ninja Turtles.
a little bit
so cute.
and a little bit Power Ranger, a little bit this, a little bit that. So here's just like a little bit of a fight scene, and just I'm grooving on the music here.
Kill him.
Wow, they're mystified. They can't find him.
This is like some Mod Squad music.
It's very good. The music's excellent.
The music is really fantastic.
Yes, very much not speaking streets of San Francisco, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, got him in the shin.
I like that they nicely wait one by one to attack.
Yeah, exactly. My turn.
He did some Kirk Fu on him there. That was pretty nice.
The double axe handle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh God.
Nice effects.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Serenity. You had to come back to this.
I know, it's terrible.
Had you seen this before, Serenity?
No.
Spider-Man.
I'm happy. Happy I had seen it before now.
So it's pretty great. So I love the end. Oh well, here you have to see the giant robot because of course you got to have a giant robot.
They're just everywhere.
So it spits out a car that he can drive around in. Hey, this is so weird because you got to have a car. It's like all the things on the checklist have to happen simultaneously. Japanese Spider-Man. And then, of course, he's going to go in there and form a giant robot. This is unlike any Spider-Man you've ever experienced.
Weird.
Yeah.
They need their mech suits.
Reminds me of Astro Boy, circa 1969.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of Astro Boy. There's like a woman and a young boy that goes there. I don't think he's got a monkey, so at least there's no monkey, so that's the difference. So this is fantastic, and I love it.
We're counting on you.
Okay, so here's the closing song.
Spider Machine.
God damn you, Japan. God damn you.
Echoing in depths of darkness. The footsteps of hell.
Like, goddamn.
Under a grave marker lies my father. I hide in my heart my callous fate. Goodbye, my friend, my eternal friend. All alone. All alone. I run through the deserted lands. Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Oh.
That's my favorite thing of the week right here. Spider-Man. So how much do you hate this, Serenity? Because you sound like you're disappointed in me and everything else.
I'm disappointed in that. Like, we really broke Japan's brain.
Yeah.
When we bombed them. Like, god dang.
Yeah. So all 20-something episodes of it are available. All 26 episodes of it are online. So we've got
And as Assassin said, apparently there was a Turkish Spider-Man, but it's not licensed.
Oh.
But this is officially licensed, so
got some great episodes.
I know, but that may be something to hunt down later.
Professor Monster's Ultra Poisoning. That's a great episode. The Skull Group versus the Devilish Hearse.
This is definitely, though, like you said, it's a bit of Power Rangers because those like they look like those mud people from the first season of Power Rangers.
Well, some of the comments I've really been enjoying, on here. See, this one doesn't have a lot. The one that I was looking at before got taken down, of course, because why wouldn't it be? But people are saying, this is the ultimate Spider-Man. It's got more heart and soul in it than any of the stuff coming out now, and that's probably true.
That's probably true. Yeah.
That's probably true.
It's Japan. No, it doesn't. Japan's all about market shares and making sure, even back then. So it was never about heart.
No, it's all about history and craftsmanship and Nagori sake.
Oh, yeah. 100%. That's the reason why the car looks like exactly like the black villain, air quotes, car from Speed Racer. The reason why all the mechs look exactly like Voltron. And
does it hurt to be so cynical?
I don't know, Harry, does it?
I'm not cynical. Not about stuff like this. I'm cynical about people pretending to find water with a stick.
This is so nice. It's so funny.
It's wholesome. It's fun.
It's Japan.
It's Japan.
Japan.
Good job, Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the live action Sailor Moon series. That was
interesting. Yes, I agree with you on that one. That one's interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm like Sora. I'm still a fan of the 90s Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Serena instead of Usagi.
Mm-hmm.
Romanization. It's Westernization. Woohoo!
Yeah. We talked a little bit about Linux gaming translation layers for on SteamOS while you were gone.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Good times.
You want to catch up on that.
That's right. Oh, let's see. Terrible. Oh, I showed another terrible ad for a CPA firm to help you with your taxes. That was bad.
Is it ironic that I trust a CPA firm that does a bad ad better than one that does a good ad?
It's an odd criterion to make that kind of a judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and I accept that. But at the same time, it's like
nothing wrong with it. It might be okay. It might be valid. As valid as anything I come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that might work.
Yeah, so we had all the illegal fireworks, all that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, the gold. Let's see.
Los Angeles, that's how you rebel.
Okay, so there was this thing here. I'll just present this here for everybody. Chinese researchers have used bioengineering to convert industrial CO2 emissions into a protein that can serve as new feed material, providing a new solution for solving the shortage of feed protein resources and promoting green and low carbon development.
Nope.
Stop.
Now, somebody just said, very cool, but I would have picked any other shape for this.
Yeah.
Is that the method of application?
I don't know. It's Chinese scientists.
Time.
It's Chinese scientists have come up with this for packaging their protein. I don't know why.
I can see.
They're just starting to be obvious now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks AI, to be completely honest. It looks AI.
Yeah. It could be. I don't know. Hard to say.
No, I'm just saying that stuff has gotten to the point where it's like that. It just looks AI.
I don't trust anything. I just
You shouldn't.
Gone. Nothing. Because I got excited. Oh, there's something, and then that's not real. There was some little sea creature, and I was like, you watch the reel a few times, and you realize that's not real.
So I have a house to show you. It is in Saratoga. I mean, honestly, of all the places you can live in California, if you're not going to live on the ocean, Saratoga is a beautiful town. So everything that's good about oak trees and open space and just, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful little town in California. So this Saratoga home with working train listed for $4.9 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Sold.
Sorry,
with working train. Okay, so here's the outside, and here's the back. They have
so pretty.
They have this whole little area in the back here where you can do presentations.
Look at all those windows.
It has like a little amphitheater in the back. So I mean that's just inside stuff. So it has its own little amphitheater where you can like put on plays and shows and demonstrations. This is somebody's house. Okay.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And then around the perimeter of the back of the train, it has a working railroad. You can see the railroad tracks right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the train.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it also has a creek that runs through the property, too. I've sold.
Yep. Sold.
Oh, look at the random toilet. Do you see the toilet on the side of the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
That's the outdoor bathroom that you send the kids into when it's the summertime. This way they don't dirty the house.
You like
go
the way
there and go to the bathroom.
This back part of the house looks like a little old-timey train station?
Yeah.
House. Oh.
This
yes, it does. Like a little
do.
saloon style
Yeah.
kind of thing.
This is the kind of
like
shit I would do with my money if I had a lot of money.
If you had money to light on fire, I mean,
giant yacht.
Who needs another hypercar? I mean, this would be way more fun.
I want to make a tiny train. Oh, speaking of tiny trains that are like that size, my grandfather used to work at a nickel plant that's nearby, and the way they would transport both people and some of the smaller like deployments of like the nickel they were processing was a small train, and there's small train tracks that go all through it.
Nice.
It's a train about that size.
Well, in the U.S., there's also history in some places of narrow gauge railways. So
yeah, especially in Colorado, they had a lot of narrow gauge railways for the mining and California too, obviously.
And the nickel plant is still up and running to today, and they still use the train.
Nice.
There's one little guy who just sits on the back. Sits on the little engine, just drives it around.
So I have an annoying piece of train news. This kind of bugs me because we talked about how much it was going to cost to build this high-speed rail that's never going to get done. So they're looking at building a little train line, or refurbishing a train line that already exists. It basically runs along the coast from Santa Cruz down toward Monterey. It's going to take $4 billion to build this thing. That's too much money. I love trains. But it's like you just can't do business in California, apparently. I'm sure it's just paying off. Okay, don't say that, Harry. But it's got to be just so many layers of bullshit from the Coastal Commission and everybody else that wants a piece of it. It's just a little tiny train run that they want to run, and it's going to be $4 billion.
Yeah, it's becoming too...
It's too expensive to do anything.
To do anything. It is. And when it retards development like that, then you got to come in and start... changing, making some adjustments to the environment so they can.
It shouldn't be that hard for like a train line that already exists. There are some access things where there's like a trailer park that they've been trying to move that backs up against the things. It has to be
none of this
moved.
is hard.
None of this is particularly hard. Okay, a proposal to go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this is probably for you and Skep because Skep's lived in California and you live in California. Like why is California so allergic to private industry doing things that isn't tech?
Oh, they're not allergic to private industry doing things, but the money flows through the government to the private thing, and then money flows back up. Oh, you can't say that last part. Can't say that last part.
Well, it's like, because like when we talked about this last time with the Bright Line from Miami to Orlando in Florida, or like the guys who I remember talking about around here who refurbish the train cars themselves, like they're private individuals. The government doesn't pay them to do it. Like, why doesn't California let Brightline come in or let private investor like do that stuff if it's just meant to be a scenic thing?
Well, they are letting Brightline come in some places, like that train that's going to run from Las Vegas to Southern California.
Which is what they should have been having for years. But they already have a line that does it. And they should be doing that. But that's neither here nor there. But it's like why does the government feel it has to put money in everything?
Why does the government ruin everything it touches? Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying not to say ruin everything.
Why can't we have nice things?
Well, it's just like there's some cases where, like, I understand the government getting involved, like with historic stuff and that kind of stuff, or like stuff that's going to affect like power grid or stuff that involves an eminent domain. I kind of understand, but if this is just a tiny little part of a scenic railroad kind of thing, it's not meant to. Is it meant to run passengers, or is it meant to just be a scenic fun thing? Like,
I mean, it would be pretty damn amazing, honestly, if you could fly into Monterey and then just get on the train and then go from Monterey to Capitola to Santa Cruz. Yeah. It would be a really great little thing, but $4.28 billion of bankrupting people, like this guy said here. This is ludicrous. We need a practical, sustainable approach to addressing transit, congestion, and housing, one that doesn't bankrupt future generations.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if I'm even asking the question right. Like, it feels like California government feels like it has to be involved in ways that it shouldn't have to be, instead of just letting private people do, like private companies, to come in and like do what they do best or should do best. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, it feels like California government has to shove itself in everything, and then everything in price goes up. And then even though the government's involved with it more, the red tape is still there. So it still takes time, which doesn't make sense, because if the government's already involved, that should have already been approved. It just feels like they're allergic to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, that's what it feels like.
They're allergic to some things and not others. Santa Cruz is going to be getting some really relatively tall buildings with affordable housing and mixed use this and that and everything. And the whole flavor of the town is just going to be kind of destroyed in spots. But they don't care about that. For the longest time, we were just bringing 20 million people in, and then they were trying to build a bunch of houses because that's going to lower the price of housing. I'm actually not convinced that's true. I'm not convinced that if we try to build a whole bunch of housing, that's going to lower the price of anything, because all of the easy places to build have been used up. And building all that housing is going to be expensive. Maintaining it's going to be expensive. And the people who build it are going to want to make a good return on their money. And it's not going to lower housing prices at all. You know what would lower housing prices? Sending a lot of people home.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, they're building affordable housing for considering certain things that have occurred in the government, at least the federal government. Like, they may not have the people to fill those spaces.
They need to solve the insurance problem.
Well, God, they need to solve that, because that's horse crap what they're making you all do with that with that insurance stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. Same thing with the gas prices. That's stupid.
There's like a whole new headache that is going to come up, which I haven't talked about, which it's going to be a full-on rant from me, which for people who hate California, you're going to love what I'm going to give you, because it'll give you even more reasons to hate California.
Like, I have a friend who had to go to California to do stuff for her work, and she was like, if you just go right across the border from California, because she's not in Los Angeles, she's in one of the smaller towns that's near the Nevada border. She's like, if you just cross the border, it's $4 cheaper in gas.
Yep.
She's like, it's insane. This is the dumbest. She goes, no wonder California has the highest GDP, because they overcharge for everything.
Well, we have to have our own special bespoke gasoline. Most of the problems in California really exist in a few small areas. It's actually not that bad outside, because where I live, I can start a fire anytime I want. I don't need, unless I want to have burn a whole bunch of. I can go to my fireplace and I can shove a bunch of logs in the fire, and I can barbecue or do whatever I want. I don't have days that I'm not allowed to build a fire, for instance. It's pretty great.
Well, it's just for her, because she's a friend from Louisville, so Louisville is comparable to like Vegas and stuff like that, and some of the prices and stuff like that. But it's just, for her, it was just so weird to go from a place that's like, I think gas when she left was like $2.98, and then go to California where she has to rent a car because it's California, and she's having to pay like $6 or $7 a gallon because, of course, there were no cheap like rental cars left. She was so mad, but so she had to get the ones that take premium. So that means it's like the gas is like $7 or $8 a gallon, and she's mad right now. But yeah, but it's like it's such a weird thing, I guess, for me, just to like. I understand it's small bits because that's how it is with every state. Every state has that one or two problem cities and problem areas that are a pain in the back end. But it's just like I want California to get its head on straight and fix its stuff because I think because it's a beautiful state and it needs to fix itself.
A lot of things actually are improving,
which is good.
And I can see the improvement, and more people are starting to speak up about the stupid. And even Gavin Newsom is trying to appear to be sane sometimes.
Well, that's because he wants to run for president in 5 years. Or not.
Well, hey, whatever motivates politicians, all that motivates any politician is getting elected, to be fair. So
yeah. I do like the fact that to end on a slightly nicer note for California, I do like the fact that California has passed the law that states that any kids that are used in any kind of social media or YouTube or anything like that, like for family tubers, they now have to have part of the money like child actors do put in a trust that cannot be touched. Mind you, that's not going to stop certain parents, but at least it's something of what these.
That's the Jackie Cooper law thing.
It's basically they've extended it to the YouTuber and TikTok kids.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see some of the worst of the family vloggers if they're going to start moving out of California.
Please.
I think they need to. I think a lot of the YouTubers need to move out of California, but that's me. Most of the really large YouTubers who are still really large have all moved out.
If they're going to leave, I'll chip in for a gallon of gas. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
we'll pass the hat around.
It's like, let's be happy for California for doing that. You did right by the kids. It took you a few years, but you did right by the kids. Now just keep Wiener away from them and we'll be good.
But in all seriousness, the shit that's going on in New York, there was an article in one of the San Francisco newspapers just a couple days ago saying the real liberals in San Francisco are sad because right now the winds have changed and a lot of less crazy stuff is happening. And they're undoing a lot of the crazy shit that's been happening. And not that it's perfect by any means. There's still plenty of room for improvement. But it is not, they're not running it like the progressive hellhole that it was just a few years ago. Improvements have been made. And these progressives are looking at New York going, we want that. Look at what happened there. They voted for the socialist and everybody was happy about it. And we want what's in New York. It's like, man, New York is going to be the political Hiroshima. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a huge disaster, and everybody's going to learn, don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Be way ahead in the hindsight race.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we're not the big pariah, because as bad as California is, New York is just going to be like, hold my beer.
Idiots. I think he's asking about the kid law.
Oh, okay.
Sora.
Who?
So
we're talking about
Assassin is.
Yeah, okay. So Assassin
he's like, how do they intend to enforce it? It's like how they enforce it with child actors. The kid has to be listed on the business plan if the kid is part of the business, which they are, because it's like the little Asian boy who does the toy reviews that the creepy people watch, where it's like he gets 50 million views, and I know none of those are wholesome. Not all of those are wholesome.
Yeah, I don't think about that.
Yeah,
just keep moving.
But it's like they have to be listed as a dependent or an employee. Usually they're listed as dependent, but if they are the face, basically California goes, well, they're part of this. They're how you make money or help you make money. You now have to take a portion of the paycheck that is cut by YouTube, TikTok, whatever, and put it in a trust for them that is listed underneath their that's in their name, and only they can touch. Now, people, as with child actors, families have found a way around that by declaring themselves managers or other stuffs or caretakers. So there are people who've found a way around it, but it's at least something.
All you need to get around that is a power of attorney.
Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you, Scott.
You can grant that easy.
But it's one of those things, it's at least something. So this way, if there's nothing there, as we've seen in the past, the kid can sue the parents.
Yeah.
And at least get something out of it.
If there's anything to be
anything to be gotten.
Yeah. Which there's been a couple times there's been some stuff to be gotten, at least, or at least they got their parents thrown in jail, which, hey, we'll take a win where we can get one. High costing. But yeah. Sorry, I wanted to answer Assassin's question.
We'll take our wins where we can get them. That can be our mantra for the evening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take the happy where you can get it.
Well, we should end. We should stop doing this and then let everybody go do their things. Oh, so anybody else have anything they need to talk about before we vamonos?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. Sorry, a little tired. It's been a long week for me. Everybody else seems more energetic than me today. I should be drinking more caffeine. Oh, I did tell you.
Water.
Yeah, or water.
Just water.
Well, iced tea is both caffeine and water.
Sure, Harry. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Zoo's closed. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. Be
Wicked
safe.
Cocaine.